Hi, guys. So, as planned, I am out today, but I wanted to touch base with you on a couple of things personally. Number one, I don't know if you guys are going to have a computer cart or if you're sharing computers with Soriano's class today. So, depending on what's happening, I need you to take care of the computers accordingly. If you are sharing with Soriano's class, I need someone to make sure that in sixth period that choose somebody amongst yourselves, two people, to make sure that before the bell, the computers are brought over to Soriano's room, um, powered off, and all of that. If you have a computer cart, then at the end of every class period, I need you guys to choose one or two people to make sure that they get put back in the right slots, that they are plugged in, and that the cart is charging. There's usually a button on the back. So please make sure that those get taken care of. I just don't know which you're going to have. So that's the best direction I can give you. But I'm counting on you guys. You guys have been through the drill. You know what to do with them. Okay. Tuesday, for both period 4 and period 6, you will have your research proposal and your rough drafts due in class, hard copy, printed and stapled. And I had a lot of questions today I'm recording this the night before, obviously, but I had a lot of questions from my odd periods of juniors as to how the paper gets set up. So I actually created a template for you guys to follow. So for both you guys, my juniors today, period 4, it's in obviously your Canvas, and for sophomores, it's in your Canvas. So I'm just going to use the juniors one, but it's the same thing, same process to access it. Juniors, you'll click here, and sophomores, obviously, click here. So you're going to go into your class period, and you're going to select units. And just like you've been doing for the entire unit, you're going to go to Convince Me. For sophomores, this will say Take a Stand. You'll see I updated the unit schedule here, just some minor changes. And then here, Guide to Setting Up Your Final Proposal and Paper. You're going to click on Guide. And what will happen is that will actually open. Now I have it opened already. But basically here you have the entire research proposal and paper set up as it's supposed to be. So you'll see you have the running header, you have your heading block over here, research proposal is on the first page. In MLA, there's no cover pages or anything like that. So just your title here, regular 12-point Times New Roman font, no bold, no underlined, anything like that. So I set it up exactly as it's supposed to be, and a lot of you have been building your documents as we went along, which was really smart. So you already have your headings, your subheadings here in bold. Please make sure they're on the left margin. Okay, I'm still seeing some in the middle. I'm seeing some indented here. They don't go like that. They are on the leftmost margin. And then I put the directions for each section here so that they kind of mimic a paragraph, so you get a better visual for how the paper will look as you put it together. So here, the main point in the introduction is just to identify what is the problem, why is it an important topic to study, and what is your claim. This will be 1 to 2 paragraphs, depending on how you address those questions. You may have 1 or you may have 2 paragraphs. Right after that is your background and significance. Basically, this is the history and the context of your topic. But down here, you'll notice it says 2 paragraphs. Here I put that the introduction and background may be included in reverse order if you prefer. This is a stylistic and or logical choice that the writers make when you write. So depending on what is appropriate for your argument, you will need to decide. Do you want to go intro and then background, or do you want to go background then intro? It doesn't matter. It just depends on your personal choice or what's appropriate for your topic. You decide. Okay, so whenever your intro and background is over, the next section is lit review, which you guys have been doing. So just make sure that you have 1 paragraph per source and that you, in each paragraph, have done the 4 C's. Compare, first cite with an IVF, and then compare, contrast, critique, and connect. Okay? You do not have any quotations or citations in that at all. It's literally just for discussing what's in the source. A lot of you have already done that, so you're in good shape. Conclusion comes right after that. The conclusion for the research proposal, as we talked about in class, is literally just, why should this paper be written? Why is this study important to go ahead and move forward with? Why? That's the big thing. So make sure that you address that. It will build your conclusion in your paper. So just like your background and your intro, if you've done those really well, in the research proposal, you'll be able to cut and paste a lot of it, or copy paste, and put that into your paper. Wherever that ends, whenever that conclusion is done, you're going to continue, hit enter until you hit the new page, and then you do your annotated bibliography. If you have not checked in your annotated bibliography yet, I will do that for you next week. But make sure that they are in alphabetical order, that each MLA citation is followed by a paragraph with the annotation part, that has some summary, and it evaluates and connects. Really important. Follow the format that I gave you, and you'll be just fine. However many entries you have depends on how many sources you have. For my sophomores, you guys are all working in groups. I think you're required to have 8 sources for your annotated bibliography. Juniors, if you're working in pairs, you're required to have 8 to 10. And if you're working by yourself, it's 4 to 5. So that's how many annotated bibliography entries you'll have. And so however many pages that takes, you just keep going. When it's done, go to a new page and you'll start your paper. So you'll notice that your running header is still going, but you do not need to enter a name block here. That's not important. You're just continuing on with the title of your essay and regular Times New Roman 12-point font. And then now you get to make your argument. So in proper MLA format, write a well-developed essay where you attempt to convince your reader of your point of view. This is just like the argumentative essays you've been writing all year. It's no different. It should include the introduction and the background, depending on which order you've chosen, and your P's paragraphs times 3. Now, if you're working in pairs, for my juniors, remember your page requirement doubles. So your P's paragraphs, you may opt to have a longer intro and background. You may also have more P's paragraphs, or you may have maybe a couple of counter arguments that you address. So that's just easy ways to lengthen your paper. And make sure that you identify and discuss the opposing perspective. You can't just identify it. You have to discuss it and discuss to what extent you agree or disagree and why. And remember, this is where rhetorical analysis comes in. You might look at, do they have logical fallacies, or is it just illogical, or, are they just making an emotional argument, but it's not really rational? So those are the types of approaches you can take there, but you know that already. In your conclusions, restate your claim, but do not summarize at all. I don't want any restating of your argument. Just simply discuss the so what. That's all it needs to be. Why this research and discussion matters. Why does this matter? Where do we go from here? And why should anyone care about what you've just argued after they put your paper down? You are familiar with the so what, so I'm not expecting too much trouble there. You will be able to build off of the conclusion that was in your research paper. So make sure that you are taking that and lengthening that discussion somewhat and building upon that. It should be about a paragraph, maybe 2.